1580 103.3 WPKY. Of course, we're live this morning on Coffee Talk. It's FFA week, which is a perfect week for this lady to come in. Ag week. Of course, Jenni Frank with the Caldwell County Conservation District. I remembered how to say Caldwell County Conservation District. I have to read it. I'm not going to lie because I get tongue-tied. But that's, you know what? How much more important of an office could you possibly work in?
Well, it is a very important office, and it's an honor to work there, especially in a rural town like we live in. And we're proud to represent our landowners. And yeah, it's a fun place to work.
Well, I got to say, with it being FFA week, we're fortunate enough to see a lot of these kids come in this week that, man, are they fired up for it. And that's going to feed America. That's going to house America. That's going to build the pipelines. That's going to do everything later on. And then I guarantee that's going to have some folks over at the conservation office, because we've got to have, kids that know what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing about agriculture and FFA and all of that is that it doesn't have to be just the traditional role of planting grain or owning cattle like today. And what I love listening to this week with the kids talking about all the things that they're learning is that they get to learn in the classroom and then implement immediately, even still while they're in high school. There's opportunities for them to do, parliamentary procedure, for example.
How cool was that?
So I am a little bit of a nerd, an FFA nerd for sure. I know Mr. York and Miss Woods. Megan and I were actually, she's a little bit older than I am, but we were going through FFA at the same time at rival schools. So I remember being on the parliamentary procedure team at Lyon County when she was at Caldwell County.
I love that. Yeah. I do. That just tickles me to death. So tell the truth. Was Megan good at parliamentary procedure even back then?
Oh, yes, for sure.
And that's your rival saying that about you.
Right.
So that's pretty good, isn't it?
That's right. It was a good time, and a healthy competition is good. So it made us both better people. Every single aspect of our life, the clothes that we wear, the clothing industry, agriculture touches every industry. So understanding conservation and how to conserve the natural resources that we have, because we're going to have them, it's huge. It's important. And that's what, as the education coordinator, I get to share. And on our Facebook page, we share a lot about just like different tips, gardening tips and things like that. But it goes so much deeper. There's government programs that you can check into with the NRCS and FSA offices. There's programs. If you are a landowner, you can investigate and see what's a program that might fit for you. If you're building a home, the DIGS program, the Call 811, that's all done through the Conservation District. So it's really important, and we have a lot of services that can help people if they're at a place where they're like, I know I want to help. I want my land to benefit in some way. Then, you can check into those programs, and there's a lot of stuff. I don't want to speak out of turn because, of course, with different policies and things like that,
right,
some of the programs change, and so we definitely have to make sure we're up to date. But like the seasonal high tunnel was a program that has been done in the past.
Oh, I love that thing.
Me too.
Love it.
I want one. And that's why I say I have not, I don't know what that program looks like going forward. I know that it's closed at this moment, but they reopen those programs. And so...
Well, and I'll tell you, that high tunnel program was huge.
Yes.
And I know of a couple of places that now have their own startup, almost a mini farmer's market with their vegetable production that they never had before. But because of this program with the high tunnels, suddenly now it's possible.
And that's what it's intended for, because that is an opportunity to conserve land, provide back to our economy, and that's the goal. It's to make sure that we are using our resources in a way that's going to benefit everyone and, just continue to be there.
Well, you have a young lady that we're awfully proud of, because we've talked about her before, but man, she kicked it in the pants again and she went even farther. Tell us about that.
So Miss Kelly James, who won our local Jim Claypool Art and Writing Contest, her essay advanced to the state level, and she won Area 1.
How cool is that?
So we are very proud of her and excited. You can actually read her award-winning essay. We have posted that on our Facebook page, so you can.
How about that on your resume? Take that. Are you kidding me?
Yes, well, and Miss Kelly James has actually won in the past, so she is a repeat winner, and so we are very proud of her, especially for winning Area 1 and representing us so well.
Well, and at a time when, there's a lot of talk about fossil fuels, when there's a lot of talk about, how to feed America when we're going through a pandemic and, going through some troubling times when maybe the import and exports are not exactly leveled out like they should be. There's a lot of talk about even agricultural independence when it comes to feeding ourselves. So, that when we got kids like that are really going above and beyond.
Absolutely.
That's helping our community.
Taking the time to learn, being able to just have that knowledge for potentially to give back to our community. I mean, we don't know. I personally don't know what her career desire path is, but I mean, she definitely could have a place in agriculture if she wanted it.
We'd love for her to be back in conservation at some point. There you go.
That would be amazing.
I'm gonna try to get them over to your.
Yes, bring them on. Bring them on.
I love conservation though, because that can go from the front yard to LBL.
Absolutely.
I mean, and everything in between farmland and animals, you name it, down to the oxygen that we take in every day to breathe. I mean, that has to come from somewhere. And a lot of that has to do with conservation.
Yes. So, like I said, it's just knowing that recycling, and which I know I've lived in a city, I've also lived in a small town. It's much easier to recycle in a larger city, but that's important too in a small town. So seeking out ways that are affordable and realistic, recycling, conserving our energy. So replacing your light bulbs with energy reduced. I'm trying to think of the right word, but replacing the appliances in your home with something that's more efficient. That's going to give back to the community and your bills.
I started to say that puts money in your pocket
Exactly. So just doing things like that to conserve energy, turning the water off, not while you're brushing your teeth, or not letting it run too hot before you get in the shower. Just simple little daily tasks that everyone can do. Like if you feel like, oh, well, I don't live on a farm, I can't make a difference. You definitely can.
I'm seeing some alternative fuel sources, and alternative energy sources, I should say, not only in Caldwell, but Lyon County. I'm seeing some pop up, and we've got some construction over the next few years that's going to be going on that will really, I mean, that goes a long way to be putting right back into our community.
It's important. And if we don't do it, the next generation is going to pay for it.
Well, and again, I just got through reading something about Lyon County is getting ready to
solar
yes,
farm, yeah.
the solar farm.
I saw something from Wade White on Facebook about that recently.
Well, and again, it's all different areas, but it goes back to the same theories and the same thing. And especially when we're going through the pandemic, that can go beyond nicety. And man, wouldn't it be nice if we all paid attention to suddenly it's a necessity and it's here. If we're going through ice storms, or we were all kind of a little scared in recently because we saw some ice on the horizon, and we're like, I remember when.
Yes.
And suddenly you're going, oh, wait a minute. I need to start boiling some water. I need to be putting some stuff away. I need to go buy everything a toilet paper, at the store. I need to. Well, and that's the kind of things that we're supposed to be. We're kind of harping and preaching on right now. Is conservation has a lot to do with preparing.
Absolutely. Well, and like I said, if we don't do it, we will pay for it later. So by conserving water and energy today and making sure that we're implementing best practices today, it's going to pay off in the long run because, one, it's going to keep those natural resources around, but it's going to teach that next generation. It's going to teach your kids. If you're doing it, then they're going to grow up doing it. It's just a domino effect, because if we ran out of water, for instance, like those countries who are running out of clean water, I bet they're wishing that they had done something differently. And I pray that we don't get into that situation because we have implemented the best practices of conserving water, conserving energy, recycling, taking care of our soil. It's everyone's job. I can't say that enough.
Well, and when we've got things like hydroponics and that sort of
yes,
thing, where we were just talking about
lettuce.
hydroponics, and
yes.
I was like, good gravy, these kids.
Yes.
But think about, on the wall in your living room, you could have a garden, and it's attractive at the same time.
They have tons of stuff. We've attempted some homemade things like that at the Conservation District, but there's definitely things online that you can get to start your own. Vertical garden is a big thing where you can grow your tomatoes and things like that. But, it's just, there's lots of ways that you can implement conservation in your home that you don't even think about.
What's your favorite conservation? What is your favorite movement?
Well, that's hard to say because there's so many different areas. You've got, whether you're talking about a farmer who's conserving water and his fertilizer and how that impacts the stream, who impacts their neighbors, like that's one area. You've also got what you can do at home. I love composting, so that's one thing that you can do.
That's huge.
Yeah, and you can do that in your tiny kitchen in the middle of town. I can do that on my farm. And if you're growing flowers, take your compost and just put it out on your flowers. That's going to benefit. It reduces waste. Obviously I like composting. Who knew? But, there's on Amazon, you can get a small bucket that's made for composting. It doesn't smell. It has a little filter. You just throw your banana peels and eggshells and coffee grounds and vegetables that you cut up in the ends of them. You just save all of those things. There are some do's and don'ts. So, we post about those on our Facebook page too. But
well, and then that turns into...
it's healthy soil.
And it's so good for your garden.
Yes, you can put it on your garden. Like I said, you can put it on your plants. If nothing else, you can just put it back outside by a tree, and it's going to benefit the environment.
So that's a full cycle kind of thing right there.
And it's a really cool science experiment for your kids.
Now
actually,
see?
Now that you mention it, the nerd's coming out of me again. My science fair project when I was in elementary school was worms. Which was better, compost without worms or compost with worms?
Well, definitely with, because then you got fish and worms too. See?
That's true.
That's
another full circle. You get dinner too.
That's right. It all helps at the end of the day. But what kind of resources? Now you've got materials at the conservation office that probably online as well. But for those of us who we kind of like something visually just to have in front of us. Maybe we don't have internet at our house. That happens around here too.
Yes.
So what kind of things can we get out there to help us?
Sure. So I have a ton of curriculum. So if you're wanting to teach your kids or supplement some of the things they're learning, or for our teachers who are listening, I have lots of physical activities, lesson plans for you guys. But at home, too, if you want to implement some of those lessons, best practices, we have those. We can make copies for you. We can email them. If you don't have internet, we can definitely arrange to be picked up or mail if you are not doing contact. We can, like I said, email you any of the lessons that we have. We also just have general FYIs information. The office has programs, little pamphlets about the programs that we have. So again, any questions that you have, if you think, I might be able to do this, I guarantee you probably can. And if we can help you, we would love to do that in any way, whether it's in your front yard or on a larger scale. We are here to help. That's our role as the Conservation District.
And you said there's a deadline coming up, too.
Yes, I almost forgot about that. March 1st for our seniors in high school, even our students who are returning back to school. And there's a third scholarship for folks over 25 who are working to get a degree. So there are 3 $1,000 scholarships available in the state of Kentucky by the, it's not directly from us, it's the Kentucky Department of Conservation. And all applications are online. I can send that information to you. It is on our Facebook page. I will reshare that after this interview so that
we don't interview, we sit around and talk about stuff.
This chat, our coffee chat. I will reshare those, but that is March 1st. And I mean, every little bit helps when it comes to school. And that's one of the things coming from my seat as a student who grew up in agriculture to now a professional in the industry. There are so many opportunities available, whether it's scholarships for paying for education or just opportunities. I was in collegiate FFA at Murray State, and I met my husband there. Like, there's just...
There you go, girls.
Yeah. Well, farm boy's better anyway.
I'm just saying.
But you just have opportunities that you would never get. And like Mr. York was in here speaking about, the opportunities that you have to go other places, whether it be to national convention or state convention, to see what opportunities are out in the world is huge. I love FFA so much, and I'm so happy to be here on FFA Week.
Well, you're a success story of FFA, and I love that because it's a perfect time for you to come in because I want kids to be able to see, well, what can I do later? Right there. Mm-hmm. You see that pretty little redhead right there? That's exactly what you can do. And, anything from conservation to, retail, you've done it. And you don't have to have on muck boots to be a part of agriculture.
That's right. That is right.
All right. Well, tell us, how do we get a hold of you at the conservation office?
So you can contact me directly. My email is jfrank.cccd@gmail.com.
She answers it, by the way.
Yes. You can call us. Our phone number is on the Facebook page. And we have a lot of things coming up for 2021. And we're just waiting for the pandemic stuff to kind of settle down so we can do some of these things in person. We're working on some stuff with our FFA kids. We have a Bluebird box giveaway coming up this spring made by our FFA students. Aww. So all of those dates will be announced on our Facebook page. We're doing a tree seedling giveaway that we do every year. So you can get a tree for your yard or your farm. You can give it as a gift. So those will be coming up all this spring. And
then Earth Day, we've got a little bit different this year.
Yes. This past year we did Conservation Kids Kits where you just picked them up from the office. This year we're still in the planning phases. Maybe working with some other folks in town to kind of make those bigger or try to do an activity in person if it allows. So,
well, just a good reminder, get out with the kids, teach them what Earth Day is all about.
Yes.
We don't have to be in school. We can do those things at home too.
Oh, absolutely. We should be doing those things at home.
I love that. She needs a t-shirt. Speaking of t-shirts, now you got a little something else going on too, right? Or a lot of something else going on.
Yes, I do. I own Towns Mercantile in Eddyville, Kentucky. So we are a destination location for all your gifts. We have home decor, specialty food items that are only available in our store. Lots of good stuff.
That's the part that I love, though. Again, where'd you learn business at?
Yeah, absolutely. FFA.
There you go.
You learn everything from FFA, folks. Again, just throwing it back to recognize Miss Kelly James and all of her hard work, and just to check out our Conservation District Facebook page for all the events we have upcoming. We're excited for those. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming. I love her to death. Miss Jenni Frank,